Welcome to the DMF. I am your host, Justin Yance. And unfortunately, I had a lot of interviews lined up, but one of them fell through and I was out of town. So I wasn't able to get another interview in. So unfortunately, I don't have an interview for this week. But what I am doing is I'm putting together Amrutdeshmukh's interview into one. And then I think I'm going to look back on them and kind of do a reflection episode on the past guests. I have a lot of interviews lined up, though, coming. So enjoy. Okay. Thank you for joining us today. I have with us the Booklet guy, Amrutdeshmukh. How are you doing, sir?
Oh my God. Uh, I'm enjoying every bit of my journey, Make India Read, because when you work on your passion, work doesn't remain work, it becomes play. And
Yeah.
who doesn't like to play the whole day, right? I don't have
It's
to wait for a Sunday to enjoy. I don't have to wait for a Monday to work. They all
I
are
know. I
synonymous.
think that's the biggest misconception people have is that something has to happen to them to be happy. And
Mm,
instead, it's like, just be happy. Just be
exactly.
happy right now. Be happy with, the way the world may perceive that as nothing. But, you need to be happy now before you're going to be happy with more. People think
Correct.
that just getting more, but then they just continue to chase sunsets. And it never, it's a never ending thing. It's like, you're never going to be happy that way. Just be happy now. And
Right.
I love what you said is like, you just, when you're doing what you love, you're happy.
Yes.
You're moving forward with the journey. The journey is the happiness as opposed to
Uh,
the destination, which is what people always think is it's like
Yeah,
it's always a destination thing.
yeah. To put it in other words, there is no way to happiness. Happiness is the way.
Exactly. That's a very good. So first question I have is I really like your Instagram. How did you start your Instagram? How did this come about?
Well, the focus is not Instagram. In fact, that is one of the byproducts. Okay, I'm
Mm.
least bothered about my Instagram page. It's all started with my three failed startups. So I had three failed startups in a row, and
Mm.
because of that one failed relationship, so three failed startups on my LinkedIn profile, and because of that one failed relationship on my Facebook profile, and I went into chronic depression. So I was in the stock market, as a fund manager, hedge fund managers, you call those as hedge fund managers.
Mm.
And I usually born and brought up uh, in a city like Mumbai in India, where indirectly we are taught that there is nothing more important than money in life.
Yeah.
And so I got succumbed to that assumption and landed into stock market because we hear that that's the easiest way to make quick money. And I
Yeah.
actually started making a lot of money. Yeah,
Yeah.
small car getting upgraded into a bigger car,
Yeah.
fat salary,
So you
expensive
fell into
vacation,
the trap of liabilities.
expensive vacations abroad,
Yeah.
a smaller car, TV, getting into a bigger TV.
Yeah.
And then I thought, okay, I should start my own startup. I have enough savings now. But all the three startups failed miserably, which threw me into chronic depression.
Mm.
Chronic depression. And things became so bad one day that I decided that I will not see the rising sun the next morning. I decided to put an end to my life.
Mm.
And I still remember I was sitting in the same room. I was all alone at home. It was 8 o'clock in the evening. It's 8 o'clock right now. you know.
Yeah.
And I decided that I have to gather the things which are needed to hang myself and commit suicide. So I got up from the couch and walked 3 steps, one, two, three, and the lights went off. So this is quite common in India that the lights, just went off. I mean,
Yeah.
there must be some problem with the electricity board, and there was no light currents. It was complete dark in my living room. So it was very difficult to figure out the things because we are not used to find such things because one
Yeah.
doesn't kill himself every now and then.
Yeah.
And so I thought, okay, fine, let me come back and sit on the same couch till the lights come back. And I sat down on the same couch and I remembered the golden words of my elder brother. So my elder brother is way elder to me by 12 years. So huge gap. So
Yeah.
he's more of a fatherly figure and
Yeah.
less of a fighter sibling. We
Yeah.
never
Yeah.
fought, never fought. And I was never an avid reader since childhood. Justin, I used to hate books. Still, till the fourth grade, I
Yeah.
assumed for many years that Anonymous is the name of a famous poet. That naive and Anonymous, I thought that that is some famous guy because everywhere I can see read his name, Anonymous. So you can understand how naive a reader I was. uh, but then, thanks to my elder
Yeah.
brother, he used to play a trick on my birthdays. So when my birthday used to approach in the first week of July, he used to call my friends and their parents and strictly warn them that nobody will get toys and dresses and games as birthday gifts for Amrut. If at all you want to gift anything, gift only books. In short, Justin, I never
Yeah.
enjoyed my birthdays. So, surrounded with
Yeah.
books and no toys to play, I got introduced to Harry Potter, Alice in Wonderland,
Yeah.
Robin Hood, Snow White, Arabian Nights, Sherlock Holmes,
Yeah.
and some Indian mythological stories. And I fell in love with stories, not books, because as an innocent child, we all love fantasy and fiction and stories. So I don't think that was a turning point. The turning point came after my 10th exams. So 10th is considered to be the end of the primary education in India. And I
Mhm.
was just hanging out with friends, playing around with free mind. My elder brother again came to me and said that Amrut, now you're growing up. You should start reading non-fiction. And as an innocent child, I thought books means only stories. I asked him, what is non-fiction? I had no idea. And he said, the non-fiction books may not have stories in them, but you get to learn a lot from these books. And I said that what was I doing for last 10 years of education in school? I was learning, right? Why the need to learn once again? I said, no, 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 no. These things are not taught in schools and colleges. I said, what? Why? And that was the shock of my life that some things are not taught in schools. And that's not ultimate education.
Yeah.
And he gifted me a book. My first self-help or non-fiction book of my life was Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. I'm sure you must have heard about this book. And
Yeah. That's
you know what,
that's
Justin?
that's that's
After reading that book, I went so mad on my parents, my teachers, that in my 10 years of education, nobody even discussed about financial literacy or financial freedom, the concepts of passive income, active income. It is so important.
yeah.
Yes, suddenly you declare that you have to be the breadwinner of the family. And for all these years, to don't even discuss about money matters. This is injustice. This is
Yeah.
criminal. And then I realized the
I mean,
importance
it's
of
frustrating.
yeah, yeah.
It's frustrating because you would think that that would be taught in schools.
Mhm, mhm.
Liabilities, what the difference is, how to, but it's not. It's almost like school is just get back to work, get back to work, get back to work, get back to work. It's like they just keep this on
Yeah,
this little track and wheel. Sorry, I interrupted you. I just wanted to interject that
yeah,
right
yeah.
there. But yes.
And then I realized, then came the monk who sold his Ferrari, Alchemist, Paulo Coelho, Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill, How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie, a monk who sold his Ferrari, Robin Sharma. And there was no looking back. And I realized that, the more I know, the more I come to know that there is a lot that I don't know.
That's the truth. That's when you actually know when you realize that you don't know. That's when you can really grow, because you're able to, go, I don't know everything, but
Right.
there are other people that can learn from, because when you adopt that mindset, you can learn from other people instead
Right.
of instead of going, I have all the answers, I know everything. It's like, no, you can learn from anybody. Absolutely anybody. That's what I found. And if you can adopt that mindset from learning from anybody, then you're in a good place to continue learning. But anyways, yes,
Hmm.
continue.
So coming back to the day where I
Yeah.
decided to end my life,
Yeah.
and there I was on the couch, and I remembered the golden words of my elder brother. The lights were there were no lights; it was complete dark. And he always used to say when I was a child that Amrut, whenever you are stuck up with the question, what next in life, read random. Read random. Okay? He always used to say that don't fall in love with a particular category of books. That I'll read only fiction or I'll read only books, business books or technical books which will help me make money. We have to
Yeah.
expose to all kinds of genres, all kinds of authors. Yeah. Uh, And then, so I thought, okay, this could be the last book of my life. I'm going to end my life. So let's listen to my words of my elder brother and let's read the last book of my life before and until then, if the lights come back, I'm going to do the what I decided to do. And there was a book lying on my left hand side. So I just picked it up. I did not even check the cover of the book, switched on the flashlight of my mobile because it was dark, and started reading. So it was a mythological story from ancient Indian mythology called Gita, Bhagavad Gita.
Mm.
Yeah, it's a religious book,
Yes.
and Krishna is the main protagonist of the story, and Balram is his elder brother. So both were going through a forest, a deep forest, and it gets dark. So Krishna seems to come up with a proposal for his elder brother and says that, look, it's getting dark. It's a very dangerous, risky area. We are in a jungle. So we both won't go to sleep at the same time. One of us will be awake and keep a guard on us. Okay, so I'll go to sleep. You keep a guard, do the patrolling. Once you get tired, you wake him up. I'll do my duty and you go to sleep. So Balram says, okay. And Krishna goes to sleep. Balram is walking to and fro, and a monster comes and yells at Balram.
Mhm.
Balram gets scared, and this gives confidence to the monster. Monster grows bigger in size, and Balram shrinks in size. Again, he yells. Again, the monster grows bigger and bigger, and Balram shrinks in size. Okay, and at such a point that Balram is so scared, he screams, Krishna! And collapses and faints down on the ground. His
Mhm.
brother Krishna mistook that my brother has called my name, that it is now your duty, and he thought that he's sleeping,
Yeah.
telling him that for the last time that now it's your duty indirectly. And so Krishna wakes up and starts walking. This time, the same monster looks at this new face and uses the same old trick and yells at Krishna. But this time, Krishna does something different. Without any fear, he simply looks at the monster and says, what do you want? Fearlessly. And what happens, this time the monster shrinks in size and Krishna grows bigger. This happens again and again. Okay.
Yeah.
And the monster shrinks to such a tiny nut size.
Yeah.
Then Krishna picks him up, ties a knot to his dhoti, an Indian traditional attire, and
Hmm.
goes to sleep. The next morning, both the brothers resume the journey, and obviously, Balram recollects the nightmare and says, "You know what? Yesterday, a huge monster must have almost killed me." And then Krishna says, "Wait, wait, wait, wait. Are you talking about him?" And Balram says, "Yes, but how come he's so small?" And the epic message the author wanted to give us is that face what you must face. That
Yeah.
monster was simply a metaphor of the problems and challenges of our life. If we
That's
try
true.
to ignore them, no, try to escape them, those problems will become bigger than you, and that problem will gain control over you. But if you
Yeah.
face what you must face, you grow bigger than the problem and you gain control over it. And
It's a
these
fascinating why.
lines, yeah,
It's a fascinating way that they explain that because it's true. I mean that goes for anything. You
oh,
know, face your demons, face your
yes,
fears,
yes, yes,
and you will grow. And you will grow in size, as opposed to that. The
yes,
monster is only has power because you're giving it power.
exactly.
You can take the power back, and it just shows that our problems, we create our own problems. I think
Absolutely.
is another way to look at it.
Yeah,
So you're reading this. So
yeah. And that bad, ugly thought of self sabotage never came back in my mind. A book saved my life. you know?
that's the power of books. That's the power of reading, because I'm gonna get emotional here because that's such a powerful story. Um, Books can do that. I don't know if any other medium can really do that, because when you're reading it, I say this on my podcast all the time, it disarms you. So by just I'm just going to casually read this book, it slowly took you in and taught you a lesson, and as you said, saved your life. And to me, that shows the power of books. And as friend On would say, it gives you a different perspective. It gives you a different perspective on life, and you were able to see that. So I'm sorry. I just think that's such a fascinating story that you just told. That you how
yeah.
you how you
Hmm.
overcame that.
Yeah, yeah. I'll still get goosebumps whenever I recollect that event.
Yeah.
That if had I not read that book, which came to my rescue, probably we wouldn't have talking today on the Zoom call, right? And I understood the power
Yeah.
of a reading habit. Okay, I realized I started talking to many friends in my neighborhood and realized that many of my friends bought the books but never bothered to read them. And I understood that reading habit and books are not synonymous. They're two different things. It's like,
That is something you will see. People will buy books and have them sit on the shelf. My father is like that. I was looking at it and I'm like, oh my gosh, he got all these amazing books. This, that, the power of positive thinking, this here. And then I talked to him, he's like, he's never read it anymore. I'm like, so that can become, yeah, you're right. And you're hitting right into thing, the reading habit of how do you make it daily. And I'm curious, what are some of the things that you found that works to get people to read every day,
exactly, exactly.
or maybe not necessarily every day, but read on some kind of a schedule.
Yeah. So once I understood that books and reading habit are not synonymous, there's a difference between the two. It's not about books, it's about reading habit. Not just reading one book, right? It's about reading habit. It's a continuous process. And so I decided to encourage my friends to read and not just give books for free or book summaries for free. Yeah, it's like having dumbbells at home and lifting those dumbbells are two different things. We all have dumbbells at home,
Yeah.
right? How many of us go and take the effort of lifting them
Yeah.
on a regular basis? Yeah. Uh, Luckily, I got a call from my CA friend. So I'm a chartered accountant, an equivalent CPA degree in America. And because I was
Mm-hmm.
depressed in those days, not socializing, not participating in any of the festivals of India, he probably saw pity on me and called me that there is a blockbuster movie going on in movie theaters called Bahubali. Have you heard about this movie called Bahubali?
I'm pretty sure I've
Yeah,
heard something of it, but
yeah. It has broken all the records in Indian cinema.
Yeah.
So he said, let's go and watch that movie. So we reached the movie theater 15 minutes before the show time.
Mm.
Probably we overestimated the traffic jams of Mumbai. And so what to do? How to kill time? We both were not interested in shopping. And because of my mental state, I was
Yeah.
not interested in the other attractions of the mall, you know, bird watching. So I was so I was reading a book that week, The Seven Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. Again, a timeless epic. Okay, will be relevant for next 1,000 years. Come what may, whether it is whether AI takes over this world, that
Yeah.
book is perennial. So I just casually happened to narrate him those seven habits, casually, okay,
Mm.
with some personal examples. In 15 minutes, I explained him all the seven habits because they were very fresh in my
Mm.
mind. He was so impressed by my narration. He said, Amrut, you're a fantastic explainer. You have that skill. The way you explained all those seven habits with your personal anecdotes, I felt I visited the author and understood his book without touching the book. That
Mm.
powerful narration was. And you know what? I have the guilt of not reading regularly, but I know that because of your elder brother, you read regularly. So can you do one
Mm.
thing? You must be taking some notes in your diary whenever you read a best-selling book. I know you read a lot of non-fiction books. Can you send a picture of those notes or bullet points, or the summary to me on WhatsApp,
Mm.
okay, so that your reading habit can benefit me. That
Interesting.
last line, yeah. Did you get me?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the last line struck my mind so hard. Wow, my reading habit can benefit my friend. I'm
Yeah.
passionate about reading, and while doing that, if that can help my friend, it's a perfect win-win. And
Yeah.
win-win is one of the seven habits in the book, right?
Yeah.
And I got so restless to work on this idea. The movie started, and a blockbuster movie like Bahubali, I found it so boring because now I was in a altered state of mind,
Yeah. You're
and a
thinking of
new ray
something
of
else at the time.
hope. A new ray of hope. The guy who was about to commit suicide a couple of days ago has now found a hope to
Yeah.
work on his fourth startup.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I lied to my friend in the interval that I want to pee, and I escaped from the theater without informing him. Went back home, checked on the internet the whole night. I did not sleep. Is anybody doing such things like summaries? It was back in 2015. No, short 20-minute summaries of these great books which are not part of our school and college syllabus, right? The books
Yeah.
which we mentioned right now. Nobody was doing it. I decided to execute this idea. Within 1 week, before the excitement fades away from our mind.
Yeah.
I read in one of the books on called $100 Startup. Yeah,
Yeah.
the author says ideas are useless, and I was like, what? What is he saying? We say an idea can change the world. He says no, ideas don't change the world. Execution of ideas change the world. Thousands of ideas come to our mind on toilet seat every day. How many of us work on those ideas once we are out of the toilet? That's the icebreaker, right? And so I wanted
Yeah.
to execute that idea within 1 week. Yeah,
Yeah. So you executed that idea.
yeah, yeah. And then, being a non-IT guy, I'm a professional accountant, chartered accountant.
Yeah.
No, doesn't know how to develop an app or a website. How can I go ahead with
Yeah.
this idea, right? Then
Yeah.
again, the golden words of my elder brother. What did he say? Whenever you are stuck up with the question, what next? Read random.
I read random.
And I again started reading random books which were gathering dust on my bookshelf, borrowed from my neighbors. And most of them happened to be autobiographies and biographies of great world leaders: Mahatma Gandhi, Martin Luther King Jr., Nelson Mandela, Mother Teresa, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. And I realized why I failed in my three previous startups. I found the answer. It was not about that the ideas were not great or my marketing strategy went wrong or I did not work hard enough. Neither of these reasons. It was the fundamental question that I asked myself whenever I was about to start a new venture. The question was, what's in it for me?
Yeah.
My money, my progress, my wealth, my bank balance, my profits,
Instead of
my
what's in it
promotion.
for
Exactly.
others.
Yeah. After reading these, where the world leaders, the whole world is following them. They're dead years, decades ago. If Mahatma Gandhi was alive today, his Twitter handle would have crashed because of
Yeah.
excessive followers, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting. As you mentioned, the past. I mean, the only thing that really changes is the tools of communication.
Yeah.
Communication is always the same, but it's how we communicate. See, it's
Yes.
that we're not that different from Alexander the Great or from Napoleon Bonaparte, in the French Revolution. You can see the similarities between the two. The
Mm.
only thing that's really changed is the communication tools,
Right.
unless
Right.
AI comes and destroys us
Yeah.
all, and then we're and
And
then we're
so
out of the game.
after reading these biographies, there was a paradigm shift in my mindset from what's in it for me to what can I give. Suddenly, everything changed. The word opportunity, we look at it with such a narrow mindset. Opportunity means opportunity to make money, business
Yeah.
opportunity. I think that's disgrace to humanity. There are
Yeah.
so beautiful shades of the word of called opportunity. Opportunity to help a friend. Yeah. Opportunity to listen to a person who is in pain with a lot of empathy is also an opportunity. Right. Opportunity
Yeah.
to tap into your unique skills and talents and make use of it for the benefit of others is an
Yeah.
opportunity without expecting anything in return is an opportunity, right? And so with this changed mindset that okay,
And one of the
yeah, go ahead.
one of the things I think that was happening also was you were going for the short-term gain instead of playing the long game, which
Yeah.
is something like Warren Buffett has talked about, is how you should be going for, instead of going for the stock that is, oh, look, this is the one to get right now. Look into it and go, is this the stock I want to have for 10 years? Is this a company I want to invest? Are these people that I care about and that we can help each other? And I think that goes, paramount to what you were talking about, in how your first two startups were, like you said, these are ways for me to make money. I mean, I don't know. They're not really serving the thing. Whereas the third one, you're like, this is a mission statement, and
Exactly.
I'm reminded of Vishen Lakhiani's book, The Code of the Extraordinary Mind, where he
Extraordinary.
talks about that, having a mission statement that is bigger than you, like what you have. Get people to read. Same thing with me. I want people to learn and read. And how do we get rid of this idea that reading is only for certain people? It's like, no, it's for everybody, and it doesn't have to be work. This is a way for us to communicate.
Mm,
It's our way to dive into somebody else's brain that
mm.
we would never be able to meet, like an Alexander the Great, or as you said, Martin Luther King, somebody that's no longer with us, but you can actually get into their mindset.
Mm.
Sorry, I just had to jump right in there.
Yeah, you said it so nicely. Typically parents say, take a good job, take a good job. No parent says, take a job you love.
Exactly.
Right?
I say that to I say that to people. I say, so what do you want to do? And they look at me like, like, what do you mean? Like they've never heard that word. So no, seriously, what would you like to do? And I'll, paint the picture and be like, well, if you, could control the universe, what would you want to do? And then it's like, go with that. That's what you
Mm.
need to be doing, not what you think you should be doing. You bring, yeah, parents are like, yeah, get a good job,
Yeah.
go do this, go to college, go do this. And it's like, these are means to get somewhere, but
Uh,
they're not a mission statement. They're not, they're not saying about what do you want to accomplish? What do you want to give back? It's basically just, how can I fit in? It's basically
ah,
what they're saying about what's the way so my son will not have the most failure. And I think that's the problem with a lot of parents is, they're so protective of the children, and of their kids, they don't want them to go through pain. So it's like, okay, go do this. This will be a good job. Go be a doctor. It's like, okay, that's great. But what if that's not what you're meant to be? What if that's not what you want to be? And where does the passion lie? And I think that's why your third startup started work, because it was where the passion is, as opposed to the other ones where it was like, this is the way for me to, get a TV, get that. And it's like, those were all material things. Those can come with anything, but having the mission statement and then having those things that just adds to it, as opposed
mm.
to, starting with how much material wealth can I attain, so
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
my little itch.
So nice. So nice. That reminds me a wonderful idea from the book called The 4 Hour Work Week by Tim Ferriss. And I just love the idea, the way he has presented it. So assume, Justin, that you have already achieved 10 goals, 10 dreams of your life.
Mm,
What is the obvious natural outcome of you having achieved these goals? So we'll probably say happiness. You'll be happy, right?
mm.
Okay. But he says there is a better answer to it. Okay. So let's try to dig deeper into this. What is the opposite of happiness? Sadness? Yeah. The opposite of happiness is sadness, right? He says no. Okay. The opposite of happiness is not sadness, it is boredom. Because happiness and sadness are two sides of the same coin. Where there is happiness, there has to be sadness in between. Only then you'll become again happy, right? So they are not the opposite things, they are the two sides of the same coin. So if the opposite of happiness is boredom, then a better appropriate synonym for happiness is excitement. So when people say that, find your passion, work, do what you love, do what you are passionate about, they're basically saying do what excites you. So the right question to be asked is, you should not ask what is my goal, what do I want to achieve, but ask yourself, what is that excites me? What is that something where I lose track of time? And my mother used to, when I was a child, she had to pull me out of all of that activity. Come have lunch. You used to forget your thirst and hunger and get into that flow state.
Yeah.
So we have to, fantastic. And I got such a clarity that what I have to do in life. Yeah.
Yeah.
Reading books for others is so exciting. Everybody reads for oneself, but nobody
Yeah.
reads for others. And
Yeah.
that was like a
Yeah.
dopamine hit for me. Yeah. And I decided that, okay, this time I'm not going to chase money. It's not about myself. It's about helping my friends to cultivate reading habit. And the simplest way to execute that idea within 1 week without any IT knowledge was to get started on WhatsApp. Because I know that the whole of India is on WhatsApp, including my friends. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so the first book that I summarized was Acres of Diamonds by Russell Conwell. It's a very, very old book.
Mhm.
Acres of Diamonds by Russell Conwell. And one idea which was so fascinating from that book, it says constraint inspires creativity. And I was like, what? Constraint inspires creativity. We typically think that for creativity and innovation, we need lots of ideal resources and a laboratory setup and a mentor, and then innovation happens, right? He says exactly the opposite. Creative constraint is not an obstacle; it is the mother of creativity. For example, for example, I know you're a model and you have a fantastic physique. So when the lockdown was declared initially, and
Mm.
those bodybuilders and gym freak guys went mad because we thought that the lockdown will last for a few days,
Yeah.
and then it happened for months, right? And
Yeah.
then gradually, because the gyms were closed, they started thinking creatively and started making use of things which are already available at home. They
Yeah.
started
And that
using,
was that was a benefit of the pandemic. Yeah.
yes, yes, they started using buckets of water as dumbbells and started doing pull-ups on the doors,
Yeah.
right? Which they
Yeah.
never thought of before because there was no constraint. Gyms were open. For the first time, gyms were closed, so they were forced to think creatively.
Yeah.
That's exactly what the author is trying to say. If you
Yeah.
decide to take action within the
Yeah. I wanted to add a little bit to that constraint. If you look at the film Solaris, that was made in like in Russia, and periods of that where he had to make a science fiction film, but he couldn't really have anything about the KGB, so he had to walk around it. He had to. Another example, Taxi Driver. They were trying to give him a rated X rating. So what he did was he changed the color of the blood so that they could get through. So as you said, constraint can breed creativity, innovation. Whereas most think of that as like, oh no, I can't do it unless I can do it. It's like, no, 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 no. The constraint will happen. And bringing it back to you, when you said that, you knew the mission statement you wanted to start with. How do I give people this summer? How do I write for them so that they can understand and develop a reading habit? Now, I don't know anything about IT or anything like that, but the mission statement's there, and that will guide you to the next thing. Now, we'll go back to
yeah.
where you were talking about.
Yeah. So when I got the message of the author, and I understood that that phrase that constraint inspires creativity, which he clearly meant that if you force your mind to take action within the limited resources which are already available to you, then you soon realize that acres of diamonds are right there in your backyard. And hence the name of the book, Acres of Diamonds by Russell Conwell. And so I thought, okay, what do I already have? Okay, till now I was thinking that what I don't have. I don't have a IT degree. I don't have the software knowledge. Fine. What do I already have?
And there's the
Yeah.
change right there in that thought
Ah,
process. Instead of
yes.
thinking about lack, you started thinking about, what do I have?
Yes. Yeah.
You know,
And I
as
thought,
as as we say, moving, thinking positively. But in this case, it's more thinking innovatively, which you're
yeah.
shifting the negative into a positive. Sorry, I just had to throw that in
I thought that I have WhatsApp and everybody's on WhatsApp. And at this time, I just have to give and not expect anything in return because of my altered state of mind. Now it's about giving and not the selfish taking. And so I summarized the same book, Acres of Diamonds, made a nice 20-minute summary of it in text and shared it with 10 of my close friends, including the guy who gave me that idea in the movie theater, and told
there.
them
Wow.
that, look, the whole idea is that I have a strong belief. My why of life is now, my why is a strong belief that if I'm not reading, I'm not changing. And if I'm not changing, I am not growing. And because of the strong belief, I have this burning desire to cultivate the habit of reading amongst the youth of my country. And hence I'm on a mission called Make India Read. Yeah. And so I said that this book summary is just a stupid excuse to keep books relevant in your daily routine.
Mm.
Okay, I never claimed that my summaries are a substitute for books. No, sorry. That will
Yeah.
be an insult of the author. I won't forgive myself for doing that. Okay. Authors are God to me. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so if you like the summary, go ahead and read the book. Okay. And you can also share that summary with your friends and be free to share my WhatsApp number with them.
Yeah.
And you know what, Justin? Within 1 week, I got 1,000 requests from unknown people who were not my direct friends. They were my friend of friends. It
Wow.
was it was going so fast.
So the
Yeah.
compound effect,
Yes.
another great book,
Yeah.
the
yes.
compound effect is happening here,
Yes.
where you've created something here, and now people are seeing that. Now I love what you said, that books, the book summaries are not a substitute for the actual reading, which is something I've seen in this country, United States, is that seems to be what a lot of people are, what they're trying to do now, is make an app where, like, oh, you don't have to read the book, just read our summaries of it. It's like, no, you need to still read it, but
Mhm.
here's something that will add to it.
Yeah.
It's an
If not
addition.
books, at least the summaries. Okay. I mean, I thought that I'm for the non-readers who have
Yeah.
the guilt. They know the power of reading habit, but somehow reading never becomes a top priority.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, the most important things in life are never urgent. Reading, exercise, meditation, family time, yeah, long-term planning. They are all give you delayed gratification. They are not Instagrammable.
I think that's the problem with it. We're looking for that dopamine effect, and it's like, mm, look for more the delayed gratification of things, of like, what is this going to build today? And I feel like I'm giving a plug to the compound effect, but compound effect, he talks about that. Meditation may be the thing that takes you into this other realm, just by starting with something like that. And like you said, just starting with that one idea of how do I do this, that's going to branch off into other realms. Like you said, you started with the WhatsApp. What do I have? I have WhatsApp. And then you're blown away by the fact that, oh wow, look at all these people that I didn't even know are coming to add to, who are interested in this. So it shows you
Yeah,
you're on to something.
exactly. And so, within 1 week, there were 1,000 readers on my WhatsApp. That boosted my confidence so much that yes, the idea is working and it's a perfect win-win. I love reading. I read one book a day at least uh, when there is no lockdown. And when there is a lockdown, I stop keeping the count of the books. Yeah. So the normal reading speed of
Wait,
most of the people is 150 to 200 words per minute. That's the average
yeah.
reading speed. I have increased my reading speed through practice to almost 1,200 words per minute,
Oh
depending on
wow.
the complexity of the book. Yeah. Yeah.
Now let's, because you just hit on something that I've been wanting to talk about.
Sure.
I don't like the term speed reading, but in some ways that's kind of what we're talking about here. In some ways, because you sped up your reading. What were some of the things that you did? Was it just something that just happened over time? Um, I was talking, my last interview, he was talking about how, if you if you when you're in a library, it's silent for a reason, because it's not supposed to be your voice. It's supposed to be, you're just supposed to be kind of like taking in the information. Is that something that you relate to?
You're right. Justin, to be very honest, I've read more than 20 books on speed reading. None of them actually helped me.
Mm,
Yeah, they all talked about, practicing your
yeah.
eyeballs. They did not work. Okay. Uh, One book that literally got convinced, that convinced me that how we can increase the ultimate increase reading speed is actually a natural byproduct of you learning to think faster.
Yes,
It's not the other way around.
that's exactly
Yes.
what I think. That's what I like about speed
Yes.
reading is it forces you to think
Yeah.
faster
Yeah.
at a and then
Yeah.
it's harder to drift off because
Exactly.
you're
Exactly.
having to, you know,
Yeah.
you're kind of having to just shut it off, you know. You're
Yes. 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 So I would highly recommend a book to all our viewers. It's written by David Butler, and the name of the book is uh, "Reading with the Right Brain." Okay.
reading with the
The
right brain.
again the title is misleading. It's very cliche, but the concepts are very very actionable and convincing, and they have worked for me. So I'll give you a fair
Interesting.
idea what he exactly talks about. So as we said, that increasing the thinking speed will have a natural consequence of increasing our reading speed, right? Not the other way around, right?
Yeah, yeah. Like you said, the instead of looking at the result of, "Oh, I got to read faster," if you can think faster, the byproduct will be speed reading.
Yes, exactly.
Which I like what you're saying
Yeah.
there, because a lot of people, when I see
No.
speed reading, they just like, no, I slow read it. It's like, okay, I'm going at it the wrong way. No, it's the mind that needs to speed up
Yes, yes.
so that you can read. It's teaching you another way to think faster,
Yeah.
as opposed to
Now,
thinking of it like, I'm just gonna you know, just speed read the book, you know. It like I feel like
right.
speed reading is almost defeats what it's supposed to be doing. It's like the worst term we could have come up with. Speed
Correct.
reading.
And so, if we, so what is thinking? If you want to learn how to think faster, let's define what is thinking. Basically, thinking is conceptualization, visualization, imagination. They are interrelated. Everything is interrelated. This is what thinking is all about, right? Now, let's go thousands of years back when the written text was invented for the first time by human beings. Yeah, the way to communicate. They must have first learned how to draw. If I wanted to communicate to you a tiger 1,000 years ago, I would have drawn a picture, okay, a crude picture of a tiger to convey you that I want to tell you a tiger. Am I right? Then later on, we realized the problem that it takes a lot of space and time. So we replace those images with symbols. So a horizontal line with a vertical line is T. A single straight line is I. So TIGER, a collection of these symbols, represents an image called tiger. This is how
beginning
this is how the
beginning of
language
linguistics.
evolved. Yeah, this is how the language evolved, right?
Yeah.
Here lies the whole problem. Our mind is naturally wired to see pictures, not those symbols. So actually, reading doesn't come naturally to us. Our mind, our brain is not made naturally to read those symbols. We are naturally made to see pictures. See, Justin,
Yeah.
I know it's very counterintuitive, no. But
Yeah.
I'm very sure you'll get convinced in next 5 minutes. Have you ever somebody complaining? Have you ever heard somebody complaining that I find it very hard to scroll those Instagram feeds? I find it very difficult to watch movies. Nobody says this because we are naturally wired
Yeah.
to see movies. The word movie itself is moving images, right? But everybody says that I find it difficult
Yeah.
to read a book. I doze off after reading 5 pages. I leave the books half read because we are not naturally made to read.
Yeah.
All right. The symbols is
Yeah.
our Symbols means the letters, the alphabets, right? Now, here comes
Yeah. Yeah.
what we have to do exactly. We have to train our mind to convert those symbols into visual pictures as fast as possible. All right. For that, you have to ignore the individual words. For example, the line, I am talking to Justin. This is a meaningful line. Okay. We are taught since childhood to read each word, one word at a time. I am talking to Justin. There lies a big problem. Now, if I isolate the word I, although it is a meaningful word, it has no meaning in the context. The word I doesn't give you any message.
Yeah.
Okay. So the words are just the messengers. The message lies in the group of words. Now, if I join another two words with the word I am talking. Now, I am talking as a is a meaningful phrase. It has a larger picture. And another phrase to Justin gives more meaning and gives a bigger picture. So I am talking
Yeah.
is one meaningful phrase. To Justin is another meaningful phrase. And then we get the whole meaning. So what we have to do is we have to train ourselves to read those meaningful phrases and ignore those individual words.
Yeah. That's exactly what we have to do.
That's exactly what is all about increasing your thinking speed. Yeah. Yeah.
Do you think part of the problem is also the flaw in the way we're taught to read, which is one word
At
individual?
the time. Yeah.
Like if we started with teaching people how to look at the image, do you think we would have, do you think we could
100%.
introduce that at an
100%.
early, at elementary level?
Yes. In fact, children's books are full of pictures. That's the whole purpose. But then
Yeah.
why, as we grow up, the
Yeah.
pictures go out of the
Like,
books?
okay, now it's like we go backwards instead of
Correct.
going forwards.
Yeah.
And maybe if we did that, we would unlock something else and be
Yeah.
like, oh, wow, maybe this is the way now to teach math. Maybe this is the way to teach this, as opposed to like we do, breaking everything down. You're right. We started
Yeah.
with pictures.
Yeah.
How did we convey the sense of a tiger? We drew it. Here's the linguistic of that. It's communication, but yeah, it starts with the picture. And yeah, I think that's the problem, is we've kind of gone backwards. We have the right idea, when we're born, and then it's like, oh, no, stop that, throw that away. Start reading that individual. It's like, it slows you down, which makes
Right.
me wonder, is this another form, like they knew at a point where they were like, how can we control these people more? I know, we'll have them read slower. So
Right.
that they're not thinking.
Yeah.
But
So
yeah.
you must have noticed, Justin, that when we read a story, our reading speed naturally increases because it's very easy to see the picture because it's a story, right?
Yeah.
When I say that tiger is running, immediately you paint a mental picture, right? A tiger is running. Yes or no?
Yes,
Yes.
absolutely.
But a sentence like perseverance and determination is the key to business success. Was there any picture on your mental canvas?
A
No.
businessman holding a briefcase.
So here lies the problem. Okay, fine. So converting those stories into pictures is very easy. That's what we are made for. Our brain is made for. But converting those abstract concepts into visualized pictures is difficult. There you need a lot of practice. And you know what? Surprisingly, what I learned from that book, your drawing skills will help you to increase your reading speed. Your drawing skills will help you to increase your reading speed. You don't have to be a great artist like Pablo Picasso, but if you learn to convert those meaningful phrases into images as fast as possible, you'll become a fast reader. Right? Literally nowadays, I don't look at words, I just get those ideas sometimes it becomes so predictable that I know that the last two words of the line are going to be these, because I'm looking at the picture and not the words, because words are just the messengers. The message lies in those meaningful phrases, in those group of words, right? So it's about seeing
Now,
and not reading.
so okay, so you hit on something that was really fascinating to me. Drawing skills. How did you go about that? How did you what would you say somebody that is interested in doing in increasing their reading ability
Hmm.
through drawing? How would you go about
Yeah, exactly. Now let's go back to the line. Determination and perseverance is the key to business success. You gave the answer, right? A guy with a suitcase, right?
it?
Now
Yeah.
business, but we missed the two words, determination and perseverance. Now determination, I would visualize Will Smith. I think that the most determined, or Kobe Bryant. Yeah, the most
Yeah.
determined guy I ever know on planet Earth. Yeah,
Yeah.
unfortunately, I cried that the day I heard the news of his plane
I know
crash.
it's very
Yeah,
sad.
one of my favorite sportsmen. Yeah, perseverance. Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe Barack Obama. Okay, so I
Yeah.
mean, it's completely it's your own imagination need not match my imagination. Okay, you have a different upbringing than mine. So it's all about same like meditation,
Yeah.
where whenever we distract our mind and our mind goes away from the breath, we try to bring it back and try to focus on the breath. Same is the case here. When we
Mm.
forget that it's about seeing the pictures and not the words, we again try to come back to the new habit. Yeah.
Yeah.
The most frustrating part of my journey was I used to fall back to the old habit and focus on the words, right? So
Yeah.
coming back again and training yourself to ignore the words and look at the pictures. Yeah. And then once you understand the magic, reading becomes so fun.
Interesting. This is fascinating. I'm gonna be honest. I assume a lot of this is in that the working the reading with the right brain. A lot of these concepts came from, but I've never thought about it like that.
In
Things
fact,
that
in
like
fact, I
pictures and
contacted
drawing.
I contacted David Butler. He has responded to me. We both are coming together and coming out with a course, an authentic course, which is not just a marketing gimmick,
Yeah.
which promises that your reading speed will increase to 1,000 words. No, but things which will really work for you,
Yeah.
which I got convinced. I don't know whether it is scientific or not, but it really convinced me that yes, visualization is reading. Yeah.
Yeah.
Reading is comprehension.
Yeah.
If you are not comprehending, it's not reading.
Yeah.
It's
No.
looking,
You're just thinking of the words.
looking at the black ink on the white paper.
Unfortunately, a lot of students are doing that in elementary school. They're just looking and they're not seeing the picture. Maybe another concept we could do when we're teaching, younger children is have the sentence and have the picture here so that they see the two, so they can compare the two and be like, see
Yeah.
this in this, you know?
In fact, that will be the part of our course. So we are working on
Yeah.
a software where, yeah. So if you are, a red umbrella and then three pictures, of which two will be the wrong pictures and the one will be the right one, which represents the red umbrella, you have to
Yeah.
click on the right one. That will train you to
Yeah.
convert the words into images. So we are working on that.
Interesting. Interesting. Are you gonna are you mentioned you don't have to draw like Picasso. So just drawing anything, even if it's stick figures, just getting something out there so you can compare and contrast the two.
Perfect.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's fascinating. That is absolutely that is like one of the most that's like I'm gonna be trying that like as soon
Awesome.
as I get off here. I'm gonna be like that is because I think that's the key is really getting people to see the pictures as opposed to
Yes. Exactly.
seeing it as the thing, which in
Yeah.
some ways what we're talking about right now is is dissecting the idea of reading and looking at it in a different perspective. And I like that you guys are creating a course, and I think that's the right way to go about it. An umbrella, here's the word umbrella, here's the picture. Point to the, point to, to the two, so you can compare and contrast the two. And that way people can get away from
Yes.
the idea of
Yes.
just, oh, these are just, like you said, just words on a
Yes.
page.
Yes.
It's like, no, these words of page are just, they're supposed to convey the idea of a picture. Create something in your mind,
Yes.
whether it be, like you said, persistence is
Ah,
the indulgence of
and
vice.
then you will never doze off. See, you never doze off while watching a movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Moving
But
images.
exactly. Huh. But we doze off while reading. That means you're focusing on the words. Today, when I learned to ignore those words and focus on seeing the pictures, I never doze off.
Yeah.
Right. And
Yeah.
then, because you are taught that the slower you read, the better you understand. That's the biggest myth that
Yeah.
teachers have taught us in schools and colleges. Yeah. In
And they
fact,
still, yeah.
in
The idea,
fact, speed is the friend of concentration. I repeat, speed is the friend of concentration. I can prove it. Okay? Justin, you drive a car?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
I drive.
so when I'm driving at a very low speed, there is some traffic. Okay,
Yeah.
there is
Boring.
some congestion. No, I easily get distracted. I keep changing the FM channel, look here and there.
Yeah.
Who is sitting in that car? Oh, who is
Yeah.
there? Yeah.
Yeah.
But if I'm driving at a very high speed on a national highway, I sometimes even switch off the music. The stakes are
Really?
high. I'm like, bang on. I don't even dare to look here and there.
Oh,
Right?
yeah.
You automatically, speed is the friend of concentration. Your focus automatically increases when there is speed. Right? Just try out. There is a settings on YouTube where you can increase the speed by
Yeah.
1.5x, 2x. When you do that, okay, just go once we are done with this podcast,
Yeah.
just watch some maybe my own TED talk on YouTube. Go and increase
Yeah.
the speed to say 1.5. You will naturally see yourself leaning forward and trying to focus more because now stakes are high. If you skip even 1 second, you will lose the entire story. Speed is the friend of concentration.
Hmm. Interesting. Should we make interesting? You hit on like an interesting concept here. It's like, should we put like maybe that option? Put out films with that speed already set into the film, so that they can to build concentration in people without them actually even realizing that they're actually doing that. Like, I think that would be a fascinating concept. If you tell them what you're doing, they're going to go, but if that's the byproduct of them enjoying what you're doing, then that's an interesting concept. I have to write that down. Or listening to music fast in that way.
Maybe.
Maybe is this a way to build the concentration necessary for it? Because the thing I'm frustrated with the digital age is it seems like people are having the 5-second attention span, and it's like, it's not technology's fault that we haven't moved forward. We haven't moved. Technology has moved so far ahead of us that we haven't like moved with it. We've just kind of like just been riding it, instead of like here it is. We can still keep that concentration with the digital age. It's just how we perceive it. Maybe if we start looking at, like you said, taking things in a speed, using speed to develop the concentration. Maybe you're right. Maybe we have been looking at this the wrong way, and because like you said, everyone thinks, oh, you got to read slow to really take it in. But what you're saying now is that no, if you go faster, you'll be able to do it. So maybe we can actually train people subconsciously to
Yes. Yes.
have a deeper level of concentration. Because it seems,
Yeah. Yeah.
especially in America, they're very, you give them a mandate, you give them something, they're just like, no, I don't want to do that. But if you give them something that they enjoy and they don't realize that the byproduct is that, maybe that's the way to build the level of concentration so we can compete with Instagram. And Instagram isn't just this mind suck, it's something that we can use. Because I think all of these are tools. The problem is we've relied too much on social media to just kind of like, as we do with Netflix. If you watch Netflix and you watch a show and then you do that, but if you just watch a show and then you just keep watching the next show and the next show and the next show, that's not, you're not really enjoying it anymore. Now you're almost addicted to the product. You see the same thing with YouTube. You can get sucked in for like 4 hours. Be like, oh, what's the next one? Oh, the next one. The next one. Next thing you know, it's like, oh wow, 8 hours. So I love what you just said. Speed is the friend of concentration. And I don't think that is talked about enough, is how important speed is. And you've kind of, blown my idea. It's like, maybe that's the way
Yeah.
to get people to read
Yes.
again.
Yes. That's because I say this because our brain naturally works faster than our eyes, right?
Yeah.
Our brain works faster than our eyes. And when we deliberately read slower, our brain feels insulted.
Yeah.
And hence we start wandering off,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
We don't keep up the pace. The eyes don't keep up the pace with the brain. The brain feels insulted and then we start wandering off. We doze off. I mentioned all these things in my own book. By the way, I've written my own book. I'll just get a copy of it. Just a minute.
Yeah, let me.
Yeah.
Let me see.
So this is my book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective Readers. Not written by Stephen Covey, written by me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Can you get this book now?
Yes.
Really? Okay. All right.
It's already published. Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna read that.
Okay.
I'm gonna need to read that.
Yeah. So when people say, when I say that speed is a friend of concentration, people commonly complain that what about comprehension? Yeah. There is no point in reading faster if we don't comprehend, right? And as I said, reading is comprehension, but more than that, more than the technique of speed reading, I want to change people's approach towards reading. So, as I said, the name of my book is The 7 Habits of Highly Effective Readers. And my habit number 4 in the book is quite interesting. It says, get the big picture. Habit number 4, get the big picture. See, these books, which are general books, which are not part of our school and college syllabus, you are not going to be tested on the information that you are reading, right?
Yeah.
Perfection is not expected. Justin,
Yeah.
I've read 1,685 books till now. Do you really think I remember each and every word from it? If I do, I'll go mad. But if you point on any of these books, and I'm very sure I'll talk for at least 15 minutes on any of these books because I've got the big picture. Skip the details, get the big picture. All right. If you learn 1, 2, or 3 big ideas from the book, that's all. You're done. Rest is all bonus. Right. So there is a difference between learning and studying. See, we study in schools and colleges because perfection is expected. It is performance oriented, right? Accuracy is expected. That's studying. But books like Robin Sharma and Jay Shetty's Think Like a Monk and Vishen Lakyani, you don't have to study them. You don't have to gain mastery on these books. You just have to get those
you start
ideas.
to apply them. You start to apply them in your life. So there's no need to like sit there and say that's one of the problems I think a lot of people is the paralysis by analysis of just being like, oh, I gotta analyze. It's like no. Like you said, get the big picture. And that's what I like. That's why I don't like to do a lot of, summary and stuff. I like to kind of just, sometimes I'm reading Infinite Possibilities by Mike Dooley, and it's a fascinating book. And there's some things that, just kind of like, I'll just, take a step back and, just want it to just digest in what it's saying, as opposed to, and let it just, take me. I can't tell you exactly every single word he said, but you get the big picture. And that's what you see with a lot of the nonfiction books is that big picture. With fiction, it's more, oh, I remember this part. This is my favorite part. This is my favorite. With nonfiction books, you tend to, read the full, see the full scope.
Right, right, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would like to share a few more habits from my
Yes,
book.
absolutely.
So as I
Absolutely.
said, habit number 4 was get the big picture. Habit number 5, again, a very practical, actionable habit. So many say that, uh, Amrut, I don't remember what I read. Yeah, I read a lot of stuff, but it's very difficult to retain in your memory. I know many of my friends, especially the girls, they take pen, pencil, rubber, scale, and those pens are of 3 colors: blue, green,
Yeah.
red, and nowadays those fancy fluorescent orange highlighters and green highlighters. They carry so many weapons with them before they open the book, and then they will highlight so much on each page that the non-highlighted part looks like highlighted.
Yes, that does happen. Yeah.
You don't remember by decorating a book. Okay. The best way, the best way to remember what you read is to read and discuss. That's my habit number 5. Read and discuss. Discuss what? Not the summary, not the review, not the critical appraisal of the author. One big idea.
Read and
One big
discuss.
idea that shattered your mind, that forced you to replace your old assumption with a new one, old ideology with a new one. For
Yeah.
example, I used to think that introverts are dumb people. No, they're very
Yeah.
shy. They
Yeah.
can't
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
articulate well. After reading a book called Quiet by Suzanne Cain, it's all about introverts, and she says that uh, no, the quality of an idea and the ability to express that idea has nothing to do with each other, right?
Mm.
If somebody has an idea in his or her head, his or her ability to express that idea has nothing to do with the quality of the idea in her head, right? And I felt like a tight slap on my face. That wow, I was so wrong. And my approach towards introverts changed. Now my objective was to make them open up because they are shy and get the best from their minds, right? Just
Yeah.
because they can't articulate properly, that doesn't mean they don't have great ideas inside them,
Exactly. You just
right?
gotta kind of
So see,
pull them
so
out.
you have to now that I shared that one big idea with you, aren't you curious about the book? Wow,
Yes.
by sharing that idea with a lot of enthusiasm, you might get curious. Okay, what else it might be in the book, the entire book? I should get that book, right?
And that's what I love. That's what I love about following, Instagram, book bloggers is they put the book up there sometimes, and it's like, oh yeah, I need to look at that, book. I need to look at,
Correct.
I'm always fascinated. It's like,
Uh,
oh, I didn't know about that book,
correct.
you know?
So
Yeah.
discussions are of two types. Okay, most of the people fall on the first kind of discussion. So they discuss about the book, around the book. For example, in the lockdown, my friend called me and said that Amrut, you should read that Yuval Noah Harari's *Sapiens*. It's a fantastic book. I said, is it really? So what did you learn from it? No, no, no. You should read it. It is a fantastic. You go and watch his interview. He's such a great orator, great author. Yeah, yeah, my friend, I agreed. But can you share something? What's the topic? Some ideas that excited you? No, 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 no. He just bragged. No, he just praised the author, bragged that he read the book. He just spoke around the book. That's one category of people, one category of
Yeah.
readers.
Well, I think a lot of that is bred because of, the media. When they talk about it, it's like, oh, he's number one Nobel Peace Prize, winner, this, that. They tell you all the accolades, nothing about the book,
Exactly.
then it gets people to think like, oh no, it's really good. It's like, well, why is it good? Because I was told it was good, like they don't know the difference between a good book or a bad. It's not even in their mind. They've already been conditioned to like the book before they've even opened the book, or not like
Exactly.
the book, and vice versa.
And they talk about how many pages are there in the book, what is the price of the book, what is the
Yeah.
color of the book. These are all useless. It's not adding value to my knowledge. And
Exactly.
then comes the other category of books who talk what they read in the book, what they learned from the book. One big idea. That's all. And that's my favorite hobby. I just love to share that one big idea that I learned from the book that I read recently.
Yeah.
For last 1 hour, I'm doing the same thing. Acres of
Yes.
diamonds,
Yeah,
right?
you've got me excited. I'm like, I'm gonna go look up all these
Yeah,
books. I'm writing them all
I,
down.
yeah. That idea of the monster from Bhagavad Gita, constraint inspires creativity, introverts. These are all ideas, right?
Yeah.
And I'm very sure you will try one of these books because I spoke what's inside the book and not what's around the book.
Yeah, you
Right. So
didn't tell me,
that's
well,
what.
this book is amazing, because it won this many awards. It's a best-selling
Yeah.
book. Okay, but would you like to?
Yeah.
It's
I
like
think they don't discuss what's inside the book because probably I suspect whether they have read the book.
that's another thing. Yeah, you'll see these people being interviewed, and then you're like, they didn't even read the book. they just they're
And
just like
so,
reading, like, well, it's a really look, it
hmm,
opens like this. There's pages and everything. And you gave me a really good segue here, because that's the thing. Like I'll ask people, it's like, do you read Kindle? Do you do this with the book? It's like it doesn't matter where you're getting, how you're getting the information. It's that you're getting the information. So it could
yeah,
come from there, it could come from your computer, that's up to you.
exactly.
That's and that's what I like
You,
about
Justin, you spoke my mind, and that's my habit number one. That's
really
my habit number one. Yeah. And habit number one is actually a non habit. It says, don't take reading too seriously. I repeat, yes, I am saying this. Booklet guy who is on mission, make India read, he's saying, don't take reading too seriously. Now, what do I mean by that? Okay, let me elaborate. See, Justin, if something is important to you, don't make it special. Make it casual because habits are casual.
Yeah.
You take any of your daily habits, talking on phone, watching Netflix, chatting on WhatsApp, yeah, gossiping. They are so casual and hence habitual. And because they are habitual, they become casual.
Yeah.
So virtuous circle,
Yeah.
right? So when somebody asks me that, no, I feel guilty that I've left the previous book half read and now I'm taking the new book. I'm feeling guilty. I'm a bad reader. I tend to counter question them that okay, imagine that you're watching a movie, okay, and it is very boring. It doesn't. It's one of the flop movies you have ever watched. What do? You just change the channel or change the video, right? Do you say, oh, I insulted that actor, I'm a bad movie watcher? You
Yeah,
should never say these things. You never say
nobody
this.
does that. Yeah, and
Why? First,
because
we don't take these things seriously, too
we're not
seriously.
taking it seriously.
Second reason, we transfer the onus, the responsibility to entertain us to those artists and directors. We
Yeah,
don't take the blame,
right.
right?
Yeah,
But
whereas people, when they're reading, they're like, it's to
ah,
me to like this book. It's like, if you don't like it,
yes,
just move on. There's a bunch of other
exactly.
books.
When it comes to reading, we take all the blame. Something
Yeah.
is wrong with me. My friend loved that book, but I'm not able to get hooked to it. Something is wrong with me. I'm a bad reader. No, my dear friend.
It's
There
similar
is
to, I think it's because books are so associated with academia that we look at it and be like, oh, this is a test. It's like, and I think that's what our job really is, to just get that idea out of thinking of this as like, no, this must be fun.
Yeah.
It doesn't,
You have
it
to
can be
learn.
academic, but it doesn't have to be. You can learn and have fun.
Yeah.
You can play a video game and you can learn. You can watch a movie and learn. Learning can be anywhere, and books is one facet of a way, but the way we are taught is almost like it's a test. Like you said, it's like, oh man, I'm not getting this. What is wrong with me? Instead of just move on to the next book. Find the book that you like. Maybe it's too long, like 48 Laws of Power. Sometimes I've talked to people where they're like, they feel, overwhelmed by that. I would tell them, just break it up one chapter each day if you feel it's too much. But, if you don't like the book, just move on to the next book. And that's why I like what you said. Don't take it too seriously. This isn't a test. Just read what you want to read. Don't read, don't read a book just because somebody told you to do it. If you don't like the book.
Yeah. I have left hundreds of books half read, and I don't feel guilty about it, because even if I quit the book, I don't quit reading.
Exactly.
Books are now replaced with pages, right? And if while reading, if you feel like, after reading 25 pages, you're not excited, you're finding it very boring, maybe you're not learning anything new from the book. Maybe the author is just wandering off the topic, or it's old wine in new bottle, or maybe after reading 25 pages, you don't find it exciting. The whole objective of the book was to teach you what kind of books you should not read.
Yeah.
At least that purpose is solved. At least you came to know what kind of books I should not expose to.
Exactly. Right? just move on. It's not the end of the world.
Draw any damn conclusion, but please don't conclude that you are a bad reader, because there is nothing called good reader and bad reader. There is only reader and non-reader.
Exactly.
That's all.
And that's how you can do it. Look at it as incremental success. Atomic Habits, 10% better. Try to just just be a little bit better each time, or don't. Right. Just read every day, or don't make it into a means goal. Enjoy it. Read at the capacity that is going to make you enjoy it. If you need to read every other 2 days, then that's fine. It depends on, it's all up to you. Just as long as you continue to read,
Right.
Yeah, don't read like what, don't misunderstand me and go, yeah, just read, I'm gonna read one page, and then 2 months later I'll read that. It's like, and then you've kind of taken that a little out of context, because now you're not going to retain. You're not really at that point. You're going to finish a book like what in 2 years.
You raised a very good point, that source is not important. Now, there was one lady who asked me this question that, Amrut, but I don't get that feeling of reading on the app or on Kindle, the feeling of holding the book in the hand, its smell, sitting on the window with a cup of coffee, it's so soothing. So I said, okay, now let me counter question you. I asked her, do you watch Netflix? And she said, yes, of course, I do watch Netflix. Why don't you insist that no, I have to go to the theaters, the old way of watching movies with popcorns in one hand and Coca-Cola in the other? You immediately adapted to this technology. This is selective modernization. Okay, you got modern in some things, and now these are just excuses of not reading. Okay.
Yeah, let's be honest. It's just an excuse.
Yeah.
Hold on, let me grab my thing here. We have the ability with this thing to take any book that we want with us. That is not something to be frowned upon. That's something. We could be on a desert island and you should have this, and then maybe a plug.
I see this as a miracle. 1,000 books in your pocket. Exactly. I can't carry more than 4 books in my bag. I think this is no less than a miracle.
And that's what astounds me. It's just like, no, this is a gift from God. You have the ability to have thousands of books at your time, so that if you get to the point where you're like, I don't really like that book, you can move on. If you had to carry all those books, like on the bookshelf, you'd be like, you'd have a whole suitcase and be like, oh, let me move on to the next thing. This makes it convenient to read. This is the Netflix of reading, where you can
How come medium becomes more important than the message? Never. Whether it is Kindle, PDF, podcast, audio summaries, whatever. Don't you think watching Steve Jobs interview on YouTube is as good as reading part of his biography?
Exactly.
Of course, it's yeah.
They both, they both have different, there's both things you can take from it.
Yes,
I mean,
yes.
Steve Jobs' autobiography is, very dense book. So a thick book. So you're going to, he's going to go into more detail about certain things. But yes, if you're listening to him there, you're getting the information. How you get the information doesn't matter. It's that you're getting the information. Exactly. These are tools. Yes. It's a tool to learn.
It's up to you how to use it. Yeah.
Like
it's like a knife. A knife is a tool, right?
Exactly.
You give it in the hands. You give it in the hands of a thief, and give it in the hands of a surgeon.
Yeah.
And the whole purpose changes.
It's still available, but we're like in the society now where it's like, we'll blame the knife. It's like, no, it's not the knife's fault, and it like, I get frustrated because I'm like, there's really no excuse to not be able to read, because now you can read anywhere. You can read on your phone. You can read on an iPad. Wonderful. You can read here. What I like about this is since this is the only thing you can do with it is read, you can't like go and scroll the internet like you could with that. It gives you the signals to the brain where it says, okay, time to read, which is the same thing you get when you have a book. Whereas with a phone is like, it can be multiple things. So you can very easily get distracted. But there really is no excuse to not be able to read. We can read anywhere. It's just astounding to me. People get so sucked in on the idea of
that reminds me a new observation of late. Yes, many of us claim that our attention span has gone down to, some claim that it is 30 seconds. The millennials' attention span has gone down to 30 seconds. But I have a different opinion on this. See, attention span has not gone down. The number of distractions have increased. Because we know that 1,000 more videos are available to me on one click, I hop from first video to the next. It's not the attention span, etc. If there were no 1,000 videos available, I would be forced to watch that video. How come we watch a 2-hour movie, Hollywood movie, without any distraction? Where has the attention span gone now? Are you getting my point? So increasing your concentration doesn't mean increasing your focus, but trying to keep away those attractive distractions. I call them as attractive distractions. Yes, they are very attractive. The ping on WhatsApp and those notifications, they are dopamine generating, very dopamine generating. You get addicted to it. So cut those distractions at the source. So what I do is, if I have to block myself and read for 30 minutes, I keep my mobile on silent mode and keep it 2 rooms away from me.
Wow.
2 rooms away from me for 30 minutes. Okay. And I block myself, read as much as I can. Then after 30 minutes, I take a micro break, check my mobiles, reply to all the messages. Micro break of 2-3 minutes. Again, keep the phone in that room. Come back on my reading room. Block myself for 30 minutes. Cut the source. Cut the distraction at the very source.
Now let me add to this though. That's one way to do it. So people don't get go. I was like, I got to get the phone into the other room, or I'm not going to. It's like, no, this is just one. This is one way to cut the distractions. And what we're really saying is, it's about accountability. It's about you are making this decision. Don't let this run your life. Decide when you use it. It is a tool as opposed to being an addiction, which I think is what you're saying. So if you need to go take it out into 2 rooms there, then that's right. Because like you said, it is very attractive distraction. It's very easy to just pick it up and just
And
go.
how easily they distract us, we can easily hack back them. It's very easy to hack back them. You just have to disable all the notifications of
Yeah.
your communication apps. The life becomes so easy. If our viewers take one advice from this podcast and go and disable all the notifications, I would declare mission accomplished.
Yeah, get rid of the pings. I mean, I do that with emails. Otherwise, it would just be like
Yeah.
ding, 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 ding. It's like, no wonder anybody can get anything done. It's like they're very smart because they know using sound is going to go, oh, I got to go pick that up. I got to pick that up. It's like, no, here's how you defeat that. Just get rid of the sound and then get rid of the pings and use it at your leisure, as opposed to what. Now, here's the dangerous part that they're doing. They're designing these things to addict us. Whereas, so we have to be smarter than that and realize what they're doing with it and realize for what it is. It's a tool.
Right.
And put it into perspective, as opposed to what they want us to do. It's just be on Instagram 24 hours a day. It would be like, wait, 9 hours later, I joke, there's the 5 a.m. club. I guess if you're like just on Instagram all day, you'd be the 5 p.m. club. You would just you'd be like, wait, hold on. Okay, what did I do today? Oh, I did. I was on Instagram. I saw a bunch of dings and dings. It's like, yeah.
Oh, I love that. 5 p.m. club.
5 p.m. club. Yeah, it's like, oh wow, the day is over. I'm done. Everybody's asleep.
Wonderful.
Solitude of
Justin,
not getting nothing done.
It's 9:35 here. It's my time.
Yeah. I know it's about. Let me just wrap this up real fast. I just want a couple more questions and then we'll go. These are short, quick. Thank you so much for being gracious with your time. Do you have a beginning of the day routine?
Oh, so I wake up at 5 o'clock because I go to bed at 9:30 in the night, and the first thing I do is 3-4 of my friends we gather on my terrace and we work out for 2 hours. I do calisthenics, I do weight training, I do yoga, I do breathing exercises and cardio and functional training. So, and then by 8 o'clock, I have my breakfast, and the first thing I do is read. Okay, now you'll be surprised to know that what must be my target number of pages when I open a book to read. 2 pages. 2 pages. I'll tell you why. Now, our brain hates big tasks, humongous tasks, and huge projects. Yeah, if I ask Justin that you have to do 1,000 push-ups and 10 kilometers marathon and 5,000 rope jumps, Justin will say, just a bit, I got an urgent call. Okay, I'll get back to you tomorrow. Right?
So a big task will almost destroy you before. Like you could just come up with this gargantuan task. It's like,
yeah, if I say that, okay, I have to make a 30 slide PowerPoint, or I have to read this 400 pages book written by Robert Greene, Mastery. Oh my God. The obvious reaction is, oh my God. And we naturally procrastinate. But if I say myself, I have to read only 2 pages. Justin, you have to do only 2 push-ups. Only 2 push-ups. Justin will naturally say, oh, 2 push-ups. Come on, I'll do it anyway.
And then you'll naturally do more.
Yeah, yes. And then you get started. Yes.
With school is we give them, okay, read this, get this done. And we give them this gargantuan task. We're almost creating procrastination without even realizing it by giving them this gigantic task.
Yeah.
I love what you just
So when you break this huge task into small, tiny, stupid looking activity of not more than 5 minutes, you get started. And getting started is half the battle won. And then I've never stopped on page number 2 because the law of inertia comes in place. We love to be in the flow. And I end up reading 20 pages.
Exactly. Do you have a nighttime routine?
Yeah, I do. I maintain a gratitude diary where I write 5 points that I'm grateful for. It could be as simple as, so today I had two apples, okay,
Mm.
out of which one turned out to be great and the other one was rotten. So I wrote in my diary that today I got a one good apple.
Yeah.
I should be thankful for it because we are
Yeah.
naturally inclined towards to remember the negative things. Oh, that one apple
Yeah.
turned out bad. No, that other apple was a
Yeah.
good one. Right?
And we
So
think
so
the one bad apple like tarnished the whole batch. It's like, yeah, but you've
yeah,
still got the one good apple. So,
yeah,
half and half. Which
yeah,
half do you live? Are you the half glass empty or the half glass full?
yeah,
It's like 10 people are like, oh God, it was, there's that
yeah,
one bad thing that happened today. So my whole day is horrible. It's like, no, no, no. Look at the other things
yeah.
that happened in the day.
Yes. And
People love
gratitude
to say,
gratitude
yeah.
needs practice. So when I started this exercise on 1st January of this year, I found it very difficult. I was not able to find even 5 points of gratefulness. Okay. But today, no, even and the page is insufficient for me. I write 20 points easily because now I know how to find those positive things in life. As simple as the Apple example. They don't have to be a big things like somebody gifted me a BMW. No, right? I think that
Somebody
really
offered you a
works.
coffee,
Yes, it has really
you know?
worked for me, and I was surprised. There was a one of my friends. I used to hate him. I mean, not a bigger way, but I found him very irritating. But when I realized that he has done so many nice things to me through my gratitude diary, slowly my hatred towards him declined.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was so wrong that I was focusing only on the bad part of it. He was giving me so many things and I was ignoring that because our brain is like a garden. So
And that's what,
James Allen
yeah.
has talked about this in his book As a Man Thinketh, very old book, As a Man Thinketh by James Allen. So our mind is like a garden. Okay, so if you do nothing, automatically the weeds will grow,
Yeah.
right? And those weeds are like the negative thoughts. Doing nothing is not enough. You have to deliberately sow the positive seeds and then maintain it through fertilizing and watering. Those are the positive thoughts. Okay, you
Well,
have to take special effort for positive thoughts. Negative thoughts will, or else negative thoughts will automatically grow like weeds.
yeah. Vishen Lakiani talked about that. Like once he did forgiveness, and once he was able to forgive somebody, he was able to reach his highest level of
Right.
of brainwaves that he didn't think was possible. And it comes to forgiveness, gratitude. These are the things. You mentioned meditation. What does your meditation imply? How do you do your meditation?
Yeah. I won't claim that I've still achieved expertise in meditation, but yeah, I meditate for 5-10 minutes after
Mm.
my workout, simply trying to focus on my breath. Okay. And the moment my attention gets distracted and I think of something else, that what am I going to have in the breakfast after a meditation, I try to bring my attention back on my breath. That's all.
Yeah.
That the process of bringing that attention back on your breath is meditation. The practice, it's like flexing your muscles in
Yeah.
the gym. Yeah. So
Yeah.
doing that process again and again will help you to focus more and more. And the whole objective is that if you can focus on the most obvious thing like breathing,
Yeah.
which is so invariable and natural, then you can focus on any other thing in life, right?
That's a great way to look at it. Interesting. Yeah. That's awesome. Last question. I'm a big film guy. What movies do you like?
Oh, I'm not a great movie watcher, honestly. I hardly watch movies. I don't have Netflix. Because whenever I come to know about the movie, oh, I've read that book. I've already read that book. Most of the
Yeah.
book movies are based on some novel.
Yeah.
So I know what
Are you
once
excited for
after reading Harry Potter, when I watched the movie
Mm.
Harry Potter, it was the shock of my life that my own Harry Potter of my imagination was so different from the one which was shown on the screen.
Yeah.
That was a big disappointment for me. Even the broom on which he flies was very different. Mine was very different. Yeah, the Aladdin's carpet was very different. Mine was very different.
That's the thing. When you go into a movie, you kind of have to like divorce yourself of the
Yeah,
idea of what you saw and be like, this is this is an interpretation of it.
yes,
You know,
yes.
it may not be my interpretation of it. Otherwise,
Yeah,
yeah, you're right. It'll like ruin it. Be like, this is not
yeah.
the movie I saw. You have to call the director and be like, what are you doing? This is not the movie. Well, we can't make the movie for every single person. We've decided to incorporate all the readers of the world. If you have an idea to bring to the movie would just be a mess. Wouldn't make sense in any tone. It would be like,
Right, right,
wait a
right.
minute, why is he what? Who is all this thing? Um,
So anyway, since you asked the question, I think one of my favorite movies was Will Smith's Pursuit of Happiness. I really loved
that's a
that
good.
movie. Yeah. But I haven't watched recent Hollywood movies. I think the old ones, the
Are you
Titanic.
excited for like the Batman? That's a pretty good.
No,
That's a pretty good film.
no, I'm
Anyone
not a
saw
movie
that?
buff.
No.
Plans to
That's
watch
fine.
it.
That's fine. That's fine. You've given so much. Thank you so much for doing this. This was so great. This is such a wonderful conversation. I mean, we went 2 hours, but I was like, we just kept delving into so many amazing things, and you were so gracious with all the things you divulged and explaining the ideas of speed reading, and just this has just been wonderful. How can
Okay.
people reach you?
Just Google me. My entire information is on Google. Google my name or Booklet Guy of India, and you'll get all the information. There are thousands of videos on YouTube, Instagram, thousands of interviews on Google. Yeah, and then once the WhatsApp thing grew, I also came out with my own mobile app, which is absolutely free, called Booklet, and hence people call me as Booklet Guy. And my it's a completely free app called Booklet, and almost 4 million readers are part of my mission Make India Read, reading books and book summaries with me. And then I have an audio facility also. I record those summaries in my voice, and all the readers listen to it. Every week I upload a new book summary on the app, so you can give it a shot to it. But again, I don't stand for booklet apps and those book summaries. I stand for the higher purpose of reading habit. I do not care whether our viewers go home and download Booklet app, but I really care if even one viewer reads 5 pages tonight before going to bed. I would declare mission accomplished.
That's all we're asking for. 5 pages. I think that's doable. Booklet Guy, thank you so much. This has been great. Thank you.
Awesome. Thoroughly enjoyed. Thank you so much. Happy reading. And please wash your
Yes.
hands. Bye bye.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. That was the full interview with Amrutdeshmukh, the booklet guy. Once again, I want to thank him for doing that interview. He was so gracious with his time, and I learned so much about speed reading, about how to see images while you read. It was just an informative interview, and I'm just thrilled that I got to work with him. As I said, unfortunately, I did not have a new interview. So I'm going to reflect on some of the past interviews. I want to say thank you for listening. As always, I've got a lot of good things lined up coming. And I appreciate every single one of you. And I want to say thank you for listening. I said that twice, I know. And you can find me at Justin Yachts. It's pretty easy to find me there. And I will see you next time on the DMF